Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon, and for that I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, global strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, thank you for coming on today.
Good afternoon.
Well, Wall Street was closed on Monday for President's Day, a federal holiday, but European shares closed higher, Asian shares up too, notably the Nikkei, which is at a 30-year high. What's the story in the global markets?
Yes, as you said, European shares rallied on Monday with Frankfurt's DAX 30 was closed up 0.5%, and most of the major indexes gaining between 1 and 2.5%, somewhere between, for most of the European market. The main reason for that is because investors are hoping for the global economic recovery, helped by the vaccine rollouts and also prospects of the additional fiscal stimulus in U.S. On the overall economic data front, Eurozone's trade surplus came in larger than expected in December, and most of the industrial output came in at slightly less than forecasted. In any case, overall economic recovery is expected in a global scale. Clearly, U.S. market futures is actually moving upward trend, particularly for small and mid-cap stocks. They're up about 1% plus. And Korean market yesterday as well as today, most of these were positively affected because of this possibility of economic recovery that were expected over the first half of this year.
And Korean shares a mix today, a gain for the KOSPI, though not quite at its session high. The KOSDAQ a little lower. Shares of Naver rose briefly above 400,000 won on news of the online retail giant Coupang looking to list on the New York Stock Exchange. Tell us about the local market.
Right. Local market, as far as the KOSPI is concerned, it continues to go up by about 0.5% after quite strong movement yesterday. Yesterday, the strong movement came on for the semiconductor businesses, as the fourth industrial revolution obviously needs semiconductor supplies, and the demand for the semiconductor seems to be very strong right now, and that it's actually lack of the supply trend, and this is the main reason for the price rise that we're seeing for semiconductor businesses. And obviously that results into quite strong semiconductor investment by the investors. And today it seems that it was triggered by the possible listing of Coupang in U.S., and because of that, most of these related stocks, including Naver and Kakao, both are showing quite strong movement. All in all, we are looking at most of these growth sectors are showing strong rises in terms of share prices. We're talking continuously about the fourth industrial revolution and the untapped businesses and continuation of these kind of industries are showing a very strong sales growth despite overall economy is still not showing a growth rate yet. We think that this kind of trend will continue in the future because right now we are in a phase where the sector obviously is not all going up. It is more of a fourth industrial revolution related sectors are the ones that continue to show very strong movement.
And with the Korean currency losing a little strength last month against the U.S. dollar, Korea's export prices rose in January for a second month in a row, up 1.8%. Import prices up too, mainly on rising oil prices. Tell us more about that and what you make of the situation.
Sure. Oil prices obviously have moved up quite strongly. It has reached above $60 per barrel. And obviously that affects us negatively in terms of the inflationary numbers, meaning that the inflation numbers are coming in stronger than expected. If you look at the overall import side, when the currency moves upward, meaning that the Korean won depreciates, obviously that is negative because the import prices rises for Korea. And on top of that, as you said, the oil prices were rising. So these two factors are affecting negatively all these inflation pressures to come in much stronger than expected. Higher inflation means that the possibility of liquidity reduction by the BOK or in general, I think obviously definitely it's a negative news for the equity market. However, though, the export prices are rising as well. It is up by about 1.8% compared to the previous month. And main reason for that is because, as I said earlier, the semiconductor demands are rising very rapidly, and that affects the prices of DRAM prices and NAND prices. And obviously that is definitely positive news for Korea. So it's a pro and cons where the import prices are rising, but nevertheless the export prices are rising quite strongly as well. That results into continuation of the trade surpluses for Korea. If that's the case, then the fundamental basis, Korean market looks very good, and Korean economy looks quite positive as well.
Got it. All right, Mr. Yu, thanks so much for shedding light on all of that for us. We appreciate it, as always.
Thank you very much.